All right. So this I'm going to, I guess, call like part 0 of my mini course on straight edge and compass constructions. So what are we talking about here with straight edge and compass constructions? Sort of a It's sort of a really interesting area of math. It's very separated from like a lot of the math that you've already done. Probably it's a very geometric, but it's also really where a lot of the origins of math came from. Historically, in ancient Greece, there was a lot of thought put into drawing shapes and understanding shapes. They believed different shapes had different properties and were sort of connected with like matter and chemistry. So there was a lot of thought about shapes and different properties of different geometric shapes. So obviously one of the sort of what was viewed as the most perfect shape was the circle, right? You can probably see why. It's very beautiful, right? It doesn't have any rough edges. It's very smooth, and it's a single shape. And so that's sort of where this course focuses. It focuses on two geometric constructs, which are circles and line segments. So what do you need for this course? There's a couple ways you can do this course. You can do this course fully online with no physical tools, if you prefer that. The software that I would recommend you use is GeoGebra. You'll see it up on my screen. You can either access it in your browser, just make an account, and you can go to, I think it's geogebra.org. Either way, just Google GeoGebra, and you can find there are, right on their website, you can access it. I think you just hit like Open Calculator or something like that, and you can access it right like as a web app. Alternatively, if you want to, you can download GeoGebra. That's what I did, just because I use GeoGebra enough that it makes sense for me to download it. If you want to download it, you totally can. It sort of is nice for saving things like that. So that's what I have open here is GeoGebra. When you open up GeoGebra, it'll start in this algebra mode. And you can actually sort of do some pretty interesting programming in here. But for the most part in this course, we're going to do like the point and click method. If you want to use the algebra mode, you most certainly can. There's nothing stopping you from that. But we're going to use the tools bar here. So it's sort of more of a point and click. If I want to add a point, I can add a point. If I want to, say, add a second point, like that, I can click segment here under lines, and I can draw a line segment to connect the two. There you go. Maybe I want to draw a circle around this point with radius this. I can do like that, and now I have a circle. That's sort of like using a compass, right? You can draw a circle around a point. So those are some of the tools you can use there, and then you can also use an intersection. So say that I draw another circle here, like this. So I've drawn two circles around the 2 points of radius, the distance between those 2 points. I can take an intersection between those two circles. So I can say, well, where do those two circles meet? I hit intersect up here, I hit the point, and then it labels it as a point, and now I can do math with that point. So as an example here, I can connect up these points that I've already used using line segments. And there you've now got a equilateral triangle, right? So you've learned your first construction. There you go. That's how you make a perfect equilateral triangle using just 2 points and a compass, or in this case, like the compass tool, and a straight edge, or in this case, the line segment tool. Okay, you can do that all in GeoGebra. If you want to be more traditional and you want to avoid computers or whatever, it doesn't really matter, whatever you prefer, but you can use a compass and you can use a straight edge. So this is where obviously the idea came from. What is a compass? So a compass is one of these things. You've probably used one of these at some point in your life. Maybe in elementary school, you can use them to draw a circle, right? So you stick this point, the pointy part, somewhere on the paper, and then you rotate the device around, and it draws a perfect circle. This is a really cheap one. This is from the dollar store. It works. I would say it's kind of frustrating because it's like, if I push down too much, maybe, this slips or it doesn't really stick in place. Like, it's very easy to move. And then this top piece wobbles too, which is kind of unfortunate. If you want, you can upgrade and get a slightly better compass. I got this one on Amazon. I don't know who makes it. I'm not going to tell you. You can just Google quality compass on Amazon, compass for drawing, because if you just Google compass, you'll get like a, map compass. So here's a compass, a better compass. You'll see something to look for is it has this little dial. You spin the dial and you'll notice very slowly the compass opens up. And if I go the other way, tighten it, the compass, the angle there sort of shrinks, right? See, it's getting smaller and smaller until now they're touching, right? And it's very similar. You might be wondering, like, where's the pencil? Well, one of these tips is a pencil and the other tip is metal. It's just like a pencil lead stuck in there. What's nice about this is you'll notice it doesn't move. So I can't spread it with my fingers. I can't it won't slip. It won't do anything like that. I think this cost me about $10. So if you have $10, go ahead. If you'd rather use a crappy dollar store one, go ahead. It doesn't really matter. As long as you feel comfortable with it, that's all that matters. If you're doing it by paper, you don't need graph paper, like grid paper, but sometimes it helps just to be able to see. You don't need it though. The last thing you need is a straight edge. What is a straight edge? Well, it's like a ruler. It's something that you can use to draw lines. So this is my straight edge. This side is a ruler. What's the difference between a ruler and a straight edge? Well, straight edge is, so this is a ruler. It has labels on it. So it says centimeters on one side, inches on the other side. A ruler implies that you can measure things, whereas a straight edge doesn't. So a straight edge is just literally a straight edge you can use to draw a line, which means you don't have the ability to measure. So those are the tools you need. What are we talking about when we talk about straight edge and compass construction? So the question is really what numbers, what shapes, and what angles can we make using only a straight edge and a compass? So you'll see here that we've made a equilateral triangle using only straight edge and compasses. And because we made an equilateral triangle, the angle between this line, maybe I should just use a pointer here, the angle between this line and this line is 60 degrees. So you can make a 60-degree angle. That is also a constructible angle. So we use the term constructible polygon, constructible angle, and just a constructible number, which we'll talk more about later. What does it mean for a number to be constructible? And the criteria is that you need to be able to create this shape or create this angle or measure this number, like a length of that number, using only a compass and a straight edge, and that's all, right? Really, the more you think about it, the more you realize that this is before computers, and even with computers, this is the only way to make perfect shapes, right, that are exactly correct. You can't really draw an equilateral triangle, right? What tools do you have to do that other than a perfect equilateral triangle tracer or something, right? You don't, right? The only way you could really do this is to use straight edge and compass constructions, right? And using a compass, a straight edge, drawing these circles, doing this method, and a triangle pops out, right? Which is kind of cool. That's the only real way you can do this in the real world, right? That's perfect. That's always going to be perfect, right? Is straight edge and compass constructions. So hopefully that makes sense. And hopefully you found this sort of intro interesting. The last thing I want to talk a bit about is the book. So this is the book that I'm using. It is Ruler and the Round by Nicholas Kazarinoff. It is very terse, so I'm warning you about that. If you read through this, it's kind of hard to read. Now it's interesting. The intros are really cool. Like the author here has like a really cool style, but some of it can be terse and some of it can be hard to read. So go slow if you're reading it. If you want to go more in depth, I'm going to be following it fairly loosely. So it's ultimately your choice how you decide to engage with it. Stay tuned for an announcement as to how this sort of gets graded and what that looks like. There's not really a lot to it, but I want to make sure that you're engaging with the content. So we'll talk about that by email. And yeah, of course, if you have any questions, let me know. My inbox is always open. I want this to be as good of an experience as possible, so please, reach out to me if you have any questions, and keep in touch.